Ah, coffee. Perfect little beans with enough stimulants to make the world seem a brighter place, but not quite strong enough to classify as drugs. Not only are they packed with caffeine and good for you chemicals like polyphenols, but if roasted and brewed just right, the flavor is just as good as the buzz. People say there's no such thing as magic beans, but I beg to differ. If you've ever had a good cup of coffee, you'll agree that these perfect little beans are certainly magical. Over the years, I've perfected my cup of coffee, and I'd like to share with you my routine for brewing a beautiful, chocolatey, creamy, flavorful cup of coffee that will not only romance your palate, but will boost your IQ a couple of points and put you in a good mood for at least a whole hour. Half the fun of making coffee is developing your own routine. The first thing that I always do is stick my nose in there and take a good smell. There's nothing like the aroma of good coffee beans. I like to try lots of different types of coffees, but one particular bean that never disappoints is this organic coffee from Honduras. If you brew it right, it has this natural, chocolatey flavor, very little bitterness, and no acidity. I get it from Aldi. So the first thing I do is I pour a nice heaping bunch of whole beans into my measuring cup, and I stick them right into my grinder. I like to grind these myself because once coffee is ground, it oxidizes quite quickly. So if you want a good cup of coffee, step number one is grind the beans yourself right before you brew them. Okay, so I take my little brush, get all that coffee off the lid, and I find that a brush is really good for moving the coffee around here. And this is kind of the grind that you want. This is like a medium fine grind. Okay, very important. The Aeropress is so far the best coffee making device I've ever used. This video is not sponsored by Aeropress. You guys know that I always feature products that I actually use and believe in. The Aeropress is basically like a manual espresso machine. Your hands provide the pressure. Okay, so I'm going to put in the plunger up to number 4 there, and I'm going to stand it up upside down, and we're going to put some coffee in it. Now, I like to use a funnel to get my ground up coffee into the Aeropress cylinder, and I find that using that little brush, again, really helps. So put all my coffee in there, tappa, tappa, tappa. Now, water, very important when making coffee, is you want to use fresh water every time, because every time you boil water, it loses oxygen and becomes flat. So the more times you boil it over, the worse the water gets. So use water that has never been boiled before. Making coffee like this, you can experiment with all sorts of different temperatures. I think 185 degrees Fahrenheit is perfect. Texture and mouthfeel are very important to me when it comes to coffee, so I use heavy cream instead of milk because it gives the coffee a silky, luxurious texture. And I like to put it into a milk frother that makes it all warm and frothy. And when you combine the frother with heavy cream, it's going to give the coffee an incredible mouthfeel and really, really good texture. So for me, this is a really important part of making my perfect cup of coffee. Part of what makes the Aeropress such a good tool for making coffee is that you put in these little fiber paper filters and they absorb a lot of the oil from the coffee as it passes through it. And that's what takes out a lot of the bitterness from the coffee and gives you such a clean flavor. Another thing that makes the Aeropress unique is that you can experiment with timing. You can control the flavor and the quality of your coffee by how much time you steep it for. Now, I like strong tasting chocolatey coffee like what you get from an espresso machine, so I'm going to stir this for exactly 10 seconds, and then I'm going to let it steep for 2 minutes exactly, and that's going to give me the exact flavor profile that I want for my coffee. I normally use the timer on my cell phone to measure this out. Alright, so here's where the fun starts. It's been exactly 2 minutes, so I'm going to carefully flip this over onto my coffee mug, and you can see it's starting to percolate through the bottom already. Now, I'm going to put just a little bit of pressure on the cylinder and start pushing down very gently. I want the whole entire push to last maybe about 30 seconds or so. And what's happening in there is the pressurized air is pushing that coffee and the water through that filter. The filter is absorbing some of that oil, and what's coming through is this beautiful, rich, flavorful coffee that we've steeped for 2 minutes with those beautiful Honduran beans. And man, it is making liquid gold in this cup. Okay, at the end of it, you have this signature hiss where you know you're done. And there you go. You have this beautiful, beautiful cup of perfectly... I mean, this coffee is perfect. I look forward to drinking this every day. Now I'm going to reach over and grab my cream from the frother. Oh my God, look at that. It's like pouring a cloud into a dream. Okay, look at this. I look forward to this, like I said, every day. This is like sometimes my favorite part of the day. I'm a real coffeeholic. And oh, look at all these beautiful layers. And guys, it does taste as good as it looks. Now, I like sugar in my coffee, so normally I add 2 teaspoons of sugar in there. If you're trying to avoid sugar, I've had this with monk fruit erythritol sweetener, and it tastes just like sugar. Okay, so give it a little stir on the bottom, and this is it, guys. This is my perfect cup of coffee. And it was so much fun trying to figure this out with the Aeropress, you know, dialing in the time, the seconds, you know, a 10-second stir with a 2-minute steep with these beans. Oh, absolutely perfect. You guys have to try this. Thank you guys very much for watching this video and for supporting my channel. Leave a comment below and let me know how you like your coffee and if you've ever tried one of these Aeropress machines. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, share it with somebody who you know loves coffee. And guys, I appreciate all your support. Thank you very much for watching. I'm gonna go drink this coffee. See you guys in the next video.